Good day, everyone. This is Meredith Leon-McCormack. I am the publisher of World Bride magazine and the proud owner of MLM Represent, a branding company. Welcome to the Women's Publishing Summit, and I am honored to be one of your lecturers, speakers. And my goal with this piece is to encourage you to not think that magazines are dead. Magazines can serve such a wonderful platform for you, for those of you who are looking to branch out and build your audiences. It is a stepping stone, as you would have it, into a bigger audience, growing your audiences. It's a way for you can test out some of your pieces, your writing pieces. It is also a way for you to get yourself familiar, get the public familiar with who you are. Get the public familiar with the sort of writing that you want to do and make a name for yourself so that you can start building yourself in people's households so that now you are a well-known person of interest when it's time for you to release your books. So in doing this piece, I wanted to think about things that helped me in the publishing world and how I was able to make the transition from coming from the fashion world, from writing to the in the Huffington Post, and building it into a blog, and then now creating World Bride magazine into an international multicultural bridal publication that is globally known. We reach about 1.8 million people globally, which I'm very proud of. And we did so gradually. It did not happen overnight. It was something that we were very intentional about. We made relationships with key people that would assist us to grow and nurture us and um, see World Bride magazine in a way that was inclusive of all sorts of audiences that were not necessarily considered back in 20, 30 years ago when the magazine world was flourishing. I formed a relationship with several people, which I maintain great, relationships with them till today. And one of them is a dear friend and who is also an editor at large with me at World Bride Magazine and has also assisted me with MLM Represent in the branding aspect. I served as a entertainment producer on her weekly show, Keep It Moving with Marsha Jews. And that relationship developed into what we have today, where she continues her love of publishing and she continues her love of literature. And she has repeatedly brought on guests and guest authors to her show and booked them when they were about to release their literature. So as you will see, magazines serve as a PR, a marketing, and a branding platform for you in so many ways. And in addition to that, it might also become a source of revenue for you where you can now get paid a couple of dollars to have your work published. So you serve two purposes. You, one, create content for a wonderful publication of your choosing. And then, hey, now you build an audience. And guess what? You can make some money on the side. So there's so many different things about the publishing world and magazine world that I don't think people should exit out and think that magazines are dead. I am going to invite Marsha in and we're going to have a conversation and so she can talk to you about the transitions that she's had to have to seen in the magazine world. So stay tuned. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to my business partner, Marsha Reeves-Jews, this
Yes, darling.
wicked woman. So Marsha, I wanted you to have the conversation with me because we've been working with each other for so long.
Yeah.
But your background is very extensive. And I wanted these women to really see how magazines and the publishing world and that has evolved into on the platforms of social media and internet, that does not mean that magazines are obsolete. Can you give us a little bit of background of your publishing background with career engineer, I think it was? So tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, so actually, my publishing experience began with the Modern Day Marine Force and Readiness Military Exhibit, and we had the Amphibious Warfare Review magazine and Proud Tradition magazine, which was part of the United States Marine Corps. So I was doing advertising then, but it really was very interesting because they would allow me to occasionally write a couple of stories of the things that I had seen from the perspective of a Black woman looking at a predominantly white male environment in the military. She who has difficulty taking orders worked with the Marine Corps, so that was hilarious by itself. But it gave me the love of the power of words and the
Mm,
vision of that. I was a reader. So then my next position was with the Afro-American newspaper.
right,
And again, it was a newspaper that was 100 and something years old now, and it was for Baltimore, Washington, and Richmond, Virginia. And so having that experience going from a magazine to a newspaper was very interesting, and going from a military to a Black community news
right.
and
Wow.
being able to present that was very powerful. And being able to pivot was very critical, but it
Right,
also said to me that it was very important for me to be in a place where people talked about my culture
right,
and who I am as a human being, and that it's not necessarily lightweight. It's not something to be dismissed. It's something more that gives me a sense of who we are as a people, and it's educational.
right. And that's why I think it was so important that I, shared this. I couldn't tell my story without you, because you showed how you were able to pivot, and I showed how I was able to pivot coming from the fashion world, which I did nothing but the creative side. But then I started writing, which brought me into Huffington Post. And
Right.
then the pleasure of us having that relationship where I can write a piece. I felt like I was creative. I can write a piece, but you served as my copy editor. You would edit everything for me. I wouldn't feel comfortable without you editing my pieces for me. So I love how you pivoted from an all male, white dominated industry to a Black publication. And this was more cultural, and it covered the span of every life changing moments of the
Right.
Black community.
Right. And finished it off with the Black Engineer and Information Technology magazine and Hispanic Engineer and Information Technology magazine, which then got into science, technology, engineering, and math, and all of the Black people who were actually being these pioneers in this area. But I think there's something else that's really important about that experience for me, and that experience was the love of information. And
Mm,
no matter where we are in terms of time, because we're talking, the time that we're talking about right now spanned from the 70s all the way to 2021, right? And with now my own, and still working with World Bride magazine,
right,
what's
right,
critical is that we're not going anywhere.
right,
People still need information. And
right,
even though some people get glimpses of it on social media, the reality is that they need it in a collective place. They
right.
need it so that something that they know they can depend on to be able to absorb and to retrieve the information that they need for their livelihood or for their personal pleasure. So whether it's on the internet or whether it's paper, it's needed, and the
Absolutely.
conversations must continue.
I agree with you 100%. And especially since a book is more like a collector's item for me, I feel like a magazine in itself is the stepping stone to the book collection.
Right.
I might throw away a magazine, but it was my stepping stone. So I still have magazines from years ago that have been out of business but because they meant so much to me, a specific article or something, I
Right.
found value in it and I still kept them. Like it's literally in my basement in bins because I value them so much. So I want so much to the ladies during the summit to understand that don't X out magazines or periodicals. You know, they're digital now, but magazines in itself in a different format, even if it's not tangible, is still
Mhm.
very resourceful because they have
Right.
digital now and they have ways that you can flip the pages digitally. So it's not going anywhere. It's just in
That's
a
right.
different format, you know?
That's right. That's right.
So
And
go ahead.
I there is a friend of mine who has one of the magazines that you just mentioned, the flipping magazines, that it's
Mhm.
electronic and you know you just hit the little button and it just starts flipping the pages, right?
Right.
And so I love that. I just sometimes I just get it so I can play with it. But anyway, I think
Yes, because I think Issue has it, Magster has it, and that's where we're living in too. And so I want the ladies and gentlemen that are here to feel that magazines are something that can be used for your writing journey.
yes,
It's like a small essay segment that you can use, but it's the most important thing that I can emphasize is that it is the stepping stone to market yourself, which brings me to the conversation, Marsha, of the things that you and I have been doing for all these years, especially when you were doing Keep It Moving with Marsha Jews.
yes.
You would interview book authors constantly, you
Oh, I
know,
love it.
Isaiah Washington, Faith Evans. So anytime somebody had a book, you would have them as
Yes,
guests
yes,
on your show. So it was, where right now everybody thinks they can do PR and PR is not the same way that it was. That's your marketing tool, is to be able to get on shows. It's being able to get into these various publications so that you can promote yourself and grow your audiences. So can you give us a little tell them your portion of why you love books so much that you're now getting ready to do another chapter to your life of publishing, helping authors.
yes. So my love for books, I grew up in South Bend, Indiana, with parents that love to fish, like go put water pole in the water and they go. And so we would be in the boat, the three of us, and they wouldn't let me talk. So imagine that. You know me, I got most talkative in high school, but my mother was mortified. But I had to sit in the boat and I couldn't talk because my father said
It was
it
scared of
would
fish.
disturb the fish. So I didn't know that fish had ears, but excuse me, that's what they did. Anyway, the resolution was that I would get the bookmobile and bring books to the bottom of the boat. So the boat would have books, and the whole time that we were vacationing or whatever the weekend was for them to fish and not talk, I was reading books. And I've been a book reader since I was probably 8 years old. And I love books. I love the feel of books. I love turning the pages. I love the concept of just trying to figure out the story. I love to learn about the characters and who they are and get into their heads. I'm just like weird like that. And so
Like
it's
me.
like you. That's why we're best friends. But
Yes.
the thing that's so crazy is that, oh, wait a minute. I can actually take this opportunity to interview all these people that I'm reading that write the books that I love to read. Right? So let's marry the two passions together. And so that's what we're doing. And so that's what we are working towards, having more whole section of authors and getting back to that aspect. And we're doing other conversations.
Right. Right.
So that's, I think that books will always have a place, be it
Absolutely.
electronic or be it in paper. I like the thought of it being in paper. I want to touch the paper. I
Absolutely.
need to turn the pages. I
Absolutely.
like the magazines. I want to turn the page. And I like reading them on the internet. I can
Right.
sit in a comfortable chair and put my computer in front of me, and I can sit and read comfortably in my little corner. I just have a little corner, and so my corner's decorated. See how decorated?
And so we're super excited to be working with you ladies. If we're here, Meredith Leon-McCormack and Marsha Jews, we're here with WKIM. We both have this partnership, and
Yes,
our love for books and literature is the biggest thing. It's taken us all over the world, from
literally.
Egypt, Italy, Africa, you name it. There's,
Cartagena.
yes, Cartagena. And it's so for us, literature and being able to think that magazines and books were the catalyst, that it opened up our eyes. First of all,
Yes.
it brought up the love that we had, and then
Mhm.
now for us to actually be living our dreams, and now we're in a position where we can help you, someone else, reach their same dreams. It brings us great pleasure. So for me, it was so important for both of us, Marsha and I, because I think it was Marsha that told me about this amazing summit, and we're like, hey, how do we help and support women? And we thought this would be a great way. So thank you, Alexa, for allowing us to do this little segment for your audience. And Marsha, do you have any last minute words that you want to say, encouraging these women that are thinking about writing books or in the position to write books, but that can use our media platforms or other media platforms such as magazines and podcasts and radios, things that you yourself do?
Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. And I'm really appreciative. Every time you get an opportunity to talk about something that you love, we really want to take advantage of that. And know that people still love books. They really do. And Mahogany Books just wrote a press release talking about the fact that Obama came and talked to some of the young people
Oh,
on, yeah, about the books that were coming out. People love information. People love to read. They like to lose themselves in your story. They like to lose themselves in dreaming about the possibilities for their own lives. They like to lose themselves in the peace, the serenity surrounding them when they just sit with a beautiful book in the middle of their house or a nice little corner that they can cozy up to. But
with a
there are
glass of
outlets.
wine.
Yeah, yes. Well, yes, we did have a couple of glasses of, but what's real critical too is that there are outlets for you to be able to do that. For WKIM, we have a weekly newsletter that
Yep.
has a whole section, and we are would be more than happy to do a Zoom or whatever they call them to be able to interview you, right? And put
Yep.
that into the newsletter and use it as a marketing tool. There
Absolutely.
and there are many opportunities for people to be able to make certain that they get the word out, that books are still alive. Libraries are doing things now with authors that are amazing. I'm in
Absolutely.
Baltimore, and the Enoch Pratt Library has regular conversations. Now they're doing it on the internet, but they have regular conversations with the authors and bringing in 200 people plus to sit down and talk about it. And now a lot of people,
Wow.
yes, Paul
That's so
Coates,
amazing.
uh, Paul Coates, Ta-Nehisi's Coates' father,
Hmm.
who has the Black Classic Press, he has been bringing in and having opportunities where people can have these discussions and interviewing some of these authors with rooms filled with people on the internet using the electronic capability. So don't think that we're shut down. The
Right.
world is still moving on
Absolutely.
regardless. And we're here with all of the outlets available to you to be able to help support you and what you're doing or to guide you to where you might want
Absolutely.
to go.
Right. And even with Worldwide Magazine, we invite lots of people to be guest editors. So if you have a beautiful story you want to tell, we would love to share it. And then even within the section of within the magazine, there is a section, home entertainment. We have a relationship. We do coffee table books, but we always featured books that we love and we
Yes.
fell in love with, because while you're on your honeymoon, your vacation, or whatever, you want that piece of literature in your hands. So please don't think magazines are dead.
At all, because they're not.
They're not.
And I still get my Vanity Fair in the mail.
Absolutely.
And I
Me
look forward
too.
to it.
Vanity Fair and Fortune magazine. Those are my two. So everyone, we are here to support you. We are here to encourage you. And if there's anything that you can do, please reach out to me, Meredith Leon-McCormack, at Meredith at Worldwide Magazine. And Marsha, do you want to give them your email?
MarshaJews@gmail.com.
Perfect.
That's quick and off the top of my head. That's easy.
So everyone, please enjoy the rest of the summit. Please find us on social media, follow us on all our social media platforms, and we wish you nothing but the best. Ciao bella. Thank you, Marsha.
Au revoir.